Minecraft discourages exploration. It sounds strange to hear that Minecraft doesn't like you to explore, but if you stick around to the end of the video, I promise I'll have you thinking twice about exploring beyond a small fraction of your world. From first glance, it seems like Minecraft wants to push you to explore and discover amazing things. Right away, you have to find a tree, to get wood, and then you have to get some stone and iron, which obviously you're going to have to explore to get that iron and everything. And eventually, diamonds too, if you want to, have the best gear. You're going to have to explore to find those. So from the get-go, Minecraft wants you to explore for better things, right? Well, not always, but usually so. Although in either case you can find everything you want within, a 4-chunk area around yourself, which I would argue is not much exploration, you're much better off ignoring the exploration. Why? Firstly, you have a damn good chance of finding a village with a reasonable distance at spawn. And if you do, you can just stay there and boom, there you go. Through trading, you can have access to literally anything you want, including diamond tools, if you work hard enough for it. These villages used to be a very special thing because of their rarity, but now I end up finding them every time I make a new world. Plus, with their new mechanics and trades and everything, you'll pretty much want to have one. You'll pretty much want to find one. Which you could argue is exploration in and of itself, but normally they're within walking distance of spawn. Secondly, exploring is dangerous and boring and can actually be pretty frustrating at times. If you go too far, you'll eventually find it to become nighttime, and then everything will want to kill you. That's not really an issue for good players or anything, but it was something I wanted to mention because this is another thing that the game itself is doing to punish you for exploring. If you explore too far, you don't get more and more dangerous monsters the more you explore, but the more you explore, the more likely it is to eventually become night before you can get to safety, and then you're out in the open with everything from creepers to skeletons. Regardless if you're a good player or not, though, there is a guarantee you've gotten lost, and you will get lost in Minecraft. In fact, you've probably done it so many times you're not willing to admit how many times you've done it. So I don't have to tell you how frustrating it is to be lost. If you're like me, you'll panic, really panic, and begin to try everything to get back home. You could craft a compass, sure, but it only points you to the original spawn point of your world, which means if you explored early on in your game, early on in your world, and built your home away from spawn, the main method, and arguably the best method of finding your way back home, leads you even further away from where you want to go. Now, you could use coordinates, that's an option, but that's only if you understand how they work and happen to write down the coordinates of where, you kept your house and everything like that. That's a big if, and that's a big maybe, and that's not something that the game outright tells you, or not necessarily tells you. I guess compass doesn't tell you that either, but the coordinates is not something that, the game is offering. You have to go out of your way to either enable coordinates on Bedrock or press a completely different button than you would really think you would have to press for Java Edition. It's some random, I think it's F3 or something like that. No one is pressing these buttons unless they just happen to know how the coordinates work and everything like that. So for a new player, this is definitely something that's never going to happen. But if they happen to know it, there's not a good chance they ever thought to write them down. And finally, we come to my last reasoning why Minecraft doesn't want you to explore. Updates. Minecraft is a game that updates frequently, despite being over 10 years old. With each update, or at least lately with each update, they always involve some form of exploring to find that new thing. They had the update Aquatic where you were like, okay, let me go explore the oceans. But for this example, we're going to talk about the bees because it came out recently. In order to find them, all you have to do is find trees and flowers, and that's easy enough, right? That should be easy because it's not hard to find a bunch of trees and a few flowers somewhere to potentially find bees. But this isn't the case. It's not easy. It's actually pretty hard. Because I already explored everything in my general area before the update, I had to search more than 1,000 blocks away from my home to get them. To get these bees, I had to go 1,000 blocks out of my way to find them. And guess what else? Because I explored that new area to get bees, nothing in any future update can ever appear there. Which means, by exploring, I hurt my chances of finding something new when the next update comes out. Whenever Minecraft updates a biome, adds some kind of structure, etc., there they are unable to appear in chunks that have already been explored. That's why I had to go 1,000 blocks on my way to find the bees, because I have already explored a good chunk of my world, and I've only been playing it for about a year, that specific world in particular. Now this obviously isn't much of an issue if you just now started playing and decided to make that world permanent, or if you wanted to start all over, which is kind of annoying to do every single time there's an update, but that's besides the point. If you wanted to, you could just start a new world, and there's a good chance you're going to find bees within a reasonable distance. But because I already explored everything around me, they had absolutely no way of appearing. So these things are unable to appear in chunks that have been explored. And honestly, that is the biggest reason why exploring in Minecraft is very punishing. It punishes you so hard for exploring. Exploring can be fun, but it punishes you in so many ways for doing so. And honestly, the game is fun, the game is great. I love Minecraft, I still play it all the time, but this is something that I found that really interested me, because it's so obvious when you kind of look at everything, but at the same time it's like, well, you want to explore to find these things, but as soon as you find these things, you're punished because the next new thing isn't going to appear anywhere near you. So anyway, that's really my thoughts on everything. I hope I was able to get you thinking about, exploring next time. I encourage you to explore, but be careful how far and how much you explore, especially your nether, because this year we're going to get a huge nether update that's basically going to, well, seemingly give us biomes in the nether. There's going to be all kinds of really cool things, like fields of soul sand, some kind of blue flame thing. There's going to be villages in the nether. Isn't that insane? They're not necessarily like villages like what we get in the overworld, but there's going to be villages in the nether. So what I encourage you to do is, and you're probably not doing this anyway because the nether is boring, but please definitely do not explore in the nether. That is the one thing I want you to take away from this video. If anything else, don't explore in the nether, because sometime this year exploring in the nether is going to be worth it. And if you've explored a good chunk of your nether, you're going to have to go out of your way through dangerous, old nether generation to find the new nether generation that has all these cool new things in it. So don't explore more than like maybe a chunk or two from your nether. If you've already done that, I'm sorry. You've just officially been punished for exploring your nether. And that's another good example of why exploring in Minecraft is so punishing. But anyway, that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please like, subscribe, share, do those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.
Like, this isn't, I literally just did something random. I guarantee you there's going to be a village near spawn. So that hopefully there is, because that will help prove my point. But I guess there is a chance that there's not, because there's always that chance, right? So yeah, we'll just see. We'll just have to see, because it's gonna happen any second now. There's probably gonna be one right there. And this game would stop lagging. I'm doing it on. I couldn't remember where to spawn. This I think helps prove the point a little bit though, because that's satisfying as fuck. I mean, it's spawn limit because there's nothing nearby. Like, that's the closest tree right there, I think. So I have to go away from spawn. But by going away from spawn, aha! Ha! I told you. Literally, just right over here, not very far at all. There is a village. It's an abandoned village, I will admit, but there is a village not far from spawn.